EmpowerIT, leaders in building career. It's the world's most popular online training institute. Do visit us at www.empowerittrainings.com. Subscribe the channel and click on bell icon. Your search ends here. EmpowerIT Trainings is one-stop solution for all SuccessFactors online trainings.
Explain you what is there in this compensation homepage. So I'm sure you all know about this admin page. So this is the admin center, which is the one admin page. You have a new version called as next gen as well. But most of us only use new gen because that's more convenient to the consultant for doing the configurations, etc. And you can also see all the modules, and the options are quite visible and user friendly here in the one admin. Okay, so once you look into the one admin center page, you will see two divisions here. One is company processes and cycles, which is this one, and second is manage employees. So anything which is related to company processes or cycles with respect to goal management, performance management, 360 review, compensation, or say variable pay, or say calibration, or learning or development, all this is what you will be seeing under the company processes and cycles. Okay, so next is manage employees. So once the employee load is completed, okay, then you will have the employees managed. Okay, that is reset the user account, reset the passwords, reset send the user email address, proxy management, manage forms by the users, update the user information, then set user permissions, etc. So all this kind of data is what you will be seeing under manage employees option. Okay, so this manage employees is something that we don't use right now for compensation. So we will get started with compensation management home button. Okay, prior to going to this home button, so this is how I'm going to drive the session. First of all, I'm going to drive you through the PTO and then get started with the provisioning. And once we get the provisioning, I mean, you understand what options you'll have to enable in the provisioning, then we'll get started with the RPP for compensation in the instance, and then we'll do all the other configurations. That's how we're going to go forward, just so you know. So here, when you're talking about the PTO document, whatever information that I'm going to provide, everything you will be seeing under an option called as compensation home. Is it? It's being clear, right? Okay. Now, so when you talk about the PTO, what are we going to talk about? The project team orientation. What are we going to talk about it? All right. So what we can see here is one, introduction to SuccessFactors compensation management module. Okay. Second is the structure of compensation planning. Third is the process that is involved in it. Fourth, the components which are involved in it. And fifth, an important piece is the report. So what sort of a report you can generate out of compensation management in standard, in a custom, ad hoc, and then ORD. Is it feasible or not feasible? This way. Okay. Now, let's get started with the overall compensation positioning. Remember, yesterday I've told you, I mean, the last class I've told you that compensation is a module which is present after PMGM, that is performance and goal management. So the output of PMGM is going to compensation as an input, and then the process works on there. And then the whole compensation process goes on, and then the result is the new CTC for the employees and the statements. Remember, so that's the positioning of compensation management module. Okay, so basically in SuccessFactors, compensation is actually called as a manager's module. Okay, why is it a manager's module? Because this module is helping the managers to provide with some sort of online kind of tool, so that they can get all the data that is required for them to do the appraisals correctly. Okay, and they can also help with respect to the communications and the following the organizational policy standard, etc. Okay, so this is actually making the managers go in a systematic approach. Okay, so compensation is always called as a manager's module. Unlike all the other modules are user modules, like user is employee, but for compensation, user is manager. Okay, now coming to the first and foremost important part that you discuss with the client in your workshops is about the data. Okay, so the data in compensation, it can come from multiple sources. So depending on what source you are getting the data, you will then decide the mode of implementation, whether it is with EC, without EC, or anything else. So the data can be one is uploaded in CS3 format via SFTP process. Two, it can be directly integrated with the Employee Central via field mapping. Or it can also come via the API, which is the external HRMS system. Okay, so there are three different methods of getting the data. So if you're doing an upload, it means that it is non-EC system. If you're doing it directly with Employee Central, means HRIS is employee system. If not EC, not upload, then it can also come from some third-party system, some third-party HRIS system, and that comes via API. So via API, we'll be doing this. So please make a note of this, because when you go for a workshops, it's quite important that you understand how the compensation management module data source is discussed about, because you should definitely talk about this as the first thing, and from here you need to get the details. Okay, so the data to compensation management module comes in three ways. One is via upload, second is via Employee Central, and third is via from third party external HRIS system, which is connected via APIs. Okay, these are the three ways you do the compensation management module implementation. Okay, but 95% of the projects happen with EC only. Okay, now SuccessFactors compensation module. Okay, basically it actually provides the relevant information, like I said yesterday: compensation information, job information, pay information, whatever information which is required by the manager. Why the manager requires it? In order to make the decisions. What sort of a decisions? Appraisal decisions. Okay, so that the salary, promotions, or say stocks, or say equity, or say adjustments, or say lump sum, they're all given according to the company standards. Okay, it can be given again to an individual, it can be given to a group of people, employees, or it can be given to a company wide according to the guidelines which are set. Okay, so compensation is one such module which is used intensively by the HR heads. Okay, so when you go for workshops of compensation, unlike EC or RCM, you will not have the end users. Okay, for this module, the people whom you talk to are all the heads. A CEO sits in this, director sits in the panel. So all the heads sit in the panel because they are the persons who make the decision makers in most of the cases. And then they cascade that decision to the manager. So always compensation tool is used by the higher heads of any organization. Okay, so what modules are interrupting here is that compensation tool can be always used with performance management to effectively link that job performance, or say continuous performance management, or say goals, etc., with the compensation rewards or awards. Okay, so performance information will be made available in compensation form as a rating. Okay, but remember guys, only one rating can be mapped from PMGM to compensation. And if as a consultant you were looking for multiple ratings to be mapped to compensation, then you will have to make sure that there is a custom way of handling this upload is done. It is not done directly via integration. Via integration, only one rating can push from PMGM to compensation management module. Okay. Then because of this, what will happen? Automatic merit increases, which is based on guidelines. That is, yesterday, as I said, you have it's 2 rating, then this is the window, 3 rating, this is the window, etc. So automated merit increases will happen with respect to guideline calculations. So, and these guideline calculations are also very much standard. That is, you will have it with respect to job level, pay grade, performance ratings, range penetration, compa ratio, etc. and the budgeting also. Okay, so this is how you can automatically calculate the lump sum also. The lump sum disbursements will also be automatically. All the rollovers, or they say lump sum disbursements, or say payouts, all these are standard. Okay. Now, if you look at this screen here, you can see different templates, right? So here, all these are different templates. Okay. So what does this say is that compensation is a template-based module. Okay. So these one particular template can release n number of forms inside it. Okay. You can see one template, but within the template you can see worksheets here. So template is one, salary template, but out of salary template we are releasing 8 worksheets. Okay, so this is how your compensation management module will work. So it will release different worksheets within the same what do you call template. Okay. And one important decision as a employee or a consultant that you should be making is how many templates do I need to construct? So you know, you guys are all EC consultants. I don't know if you have worked for document generation. So if you're working for document generation, it's quite clear that the client gives you 4 documents and you create 4 documents, right? But here the client does not tell you that I want 1 template, I want 2 templates like this. Okay, if you're a PMGM consultant, then the template decision would be easy for you, because all the talent management modules work in the same way. Okay, so here, how are you making a decision is like this. Number 1 is, if the client says I have multiple performance ratings and the process depends on the historical ratings as well, then you will go with different templates. The effective date changes, then you go for different templates. The route map approval process changes, then you go for different templates. Okay, the population, that is eligibility rule, changes, then you go for different template. Okay, the currency changes for every process, then you go for a different template. If there is any decentralization in different countries, suppose you're working for a project which is 4 country implementation, and every country has its own process, 4 different templates is what you will be using. So likewise, for different occasions, you have different templates that you will be using. Okay, so this is a decision which you as a consultant should take, and sometimes it is possible that you can club. Okay, like say the budget is different. Okay, now in such cases you can still try to put it in one template, that I'll go with budget as the direct amount, and for every department I'll give it as a direct amount. Okay, so in this way you can still manage with 1 or 2 templates. But if the other cases that I just told, okay, if it is any of these cases, then definitely you should go with 2 templates. Clear? Any questions so far?
So its route map is different, approval process is different, approval kind of dates are different, and what else?
Effective date, approval process, and eligibility rule, that is the population eligibility rule is different, and currency if it's different, and if you are working for 4 countries and there are 4 countries have decentralized process, then it is 4 different templates you will be using. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I talk about this template, right, I am talking about the template irrespective of whether it is EC or non-EC template. Even you do the integration with EC or do not do the integration with EC, the number of templates decision will not be dependent on EC or non-EC. Okay.
Okay.
Now, this is one important point for the consultants to discuss in the initial discussions of the workshop. Okay. Point number 1 is the data source. Okay. I've given you 3 ways of getting the data source. Point number 2 is different templates, right? So I've given you different reasons of why do we go with different templates. So I'm going deep dive now, right? So we are going to cover all that I've mentioned in the demonstration, but it has to come eventually.
Sure. Then it's fine.
Yeah. Of course, I'm going to cover everything. Over and above, I'm going to cover your R&R and etc. So don't worry. I'm going to give you a deep dive. Don't worry. Okay. Yeah. At any given point in time, you feel that okay, this particular thing is what probably you'll have to repeat it. Then let me know. But otherwise, I will tell you every single thing which is important for you to do an implementation. Okay. And I will also start giving you assignments. So you'll have to start doing it. But I would like to hold on for now because it's very early for you to go get started with the system credentials, etc. So once I pick up a bit, then I will ask you guys to, create your own templates. Create your own templates and start working on those templates. I'll give you a little assignment sort of customizations and stuff like that. You can start working on it so that you will get a little more confident. Okay. So as I said, comp, if you're good at numbers, if you're good at number playing, then this is going to be a really interesting stuff. Okay. Happily learn it. Don't worry at all. All right. Now, the compensation cycle or say a template. You need to, for every cycle, create a template. That's the bottom line, guys, that you'll have to remember. If there is a template, it means that there is the cycle. So we are not going to use the same thing for 2 different cycles or 3 different cycles or like that. Okay. And how are you going to do it? It's quite easy for the admin because SuccessFactors support cloning system. That is, you see this templates here, right? So how do you clone these templates? Like this. Let me just log in and show you. Okay. Go to compensation and go to home. If you look at this template over here, okay, just click on the side button and do you see a clone option here? Copy plan. Copy plan is nothing but cloning. Okay, so Here what you do is you directly clone the eligibility rules and everything. So you don't even have to go for the rules again, change the rules unless there is a date which is mentioned and that changes every year. Okay, so you say that the higher date is one, so there's the cutoff date for the higher date. Somebody who is joined before October 30th are eligible for compensation. So that October 30th, 2021, 2022 it keeps changing. So for that purpose, you'll have to change the eligibility rule. If you are writing a rule in a generic way, okay, that is for every year October 30, then you don't have to change. Clear, right? This is called integrity also. So usually the clients will ask you, why do we have to create so many templates? What is the reason behind it? Why did SAP give this kind of approach? This is all because of data integrity. So if you want to maintain the data integrity, template by template, historical data should be stored and a forecasting system should be developed. Then due to the data integrity, different templates have to be developed. Okay, so this template may be created from the previous template, that is cloning can happen, or you can every year create the new ones. That's up to the consultant or up to the admin, how do they guide. Okay, but then important thing is that cloning will maintain all the earlier configurations, decisions, and simplifies the process. It's easier. Okay, so other supporting items such as currency conversion table, lookup tables, pay ranges, they also may have to be copied and modified accordingly. If the modification is required, then they'll have to modify, because lookup table means temporary data. So it's only for that year. If the numbers changes for the next year, then we'll have to do it. So once this compensation form is completed, it should be approved according to a process, okay, that we configure in something called as a route map, which we will see at a later point in time. What is route map? How do you have to configure and etc. All right, clear so far?
Yeah, just one thing. So you mentioned that. Yeah, you mentioned that if the authorization is different within the template, then also we need to create a separate template, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So we cannot give separate authorization within the same template.
No. When you say separate authorizations, to whom are you giving those authorizations?
I suppose the manager can see a few columns, and manager's manager, for example, can see more of the columns, right? There are total 10 columns. Reviewer can see all 10, manager can see 6.
No, for that you don't have to change the template. That you will have something called as field-based permissions within compensation within the same template. Okay, you can control it with that.
Okay, so in which scenario related to authorization we need to create separate templates?
No, related to authorizations you don't have to, but if the route map changes, okay, I say, okay, for employees, it should go to the managers, and then it should go to the manager's manager, and then it should go to HR. For managers, it should directly go to the business unit head, and then it should go to the director, and then it should go to the C-level employees. Then there should be two different templates, because the roadmap changes here.
Okay.
Understood?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we're going to continue tomorrow further with it, and then I'm going to tell you a couple of more options what you have and drive how. So I'm sure. See, what I'm assuming is that you guys are making a note of the process so that you understand how you'll have to start a conversation in the workshop, what all things you'll have to highlight, what things you'll have to gather as a requirement, and then take it forward. All right?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll meet tomorrow and take it forward.
Subscribe the channel and click on bell icon.